All right. Hi,
Uh,
everybody. I'm Caswell.
I am Barbeau, and you're listening to the Cazwell and Barbeau show.
You are.
On this new season, we are recapping the new season of the Boulet Brothers Dragula season 4. And on this
Yes.
episode, we are recapping episode number 3, The Wild Wild West. And today on our show, our very, very special guest is Koco Caine, who we're going to bring on in just a few minutes. But before we do that, we want to make
Hmm.
sure that you like and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
Every week, we'll be
Yeah.
recapping the show with a very, very special guest. And
Yeah.
so, if you do that, if you like and subscribe, you can get notifications as to when we upload a new show. Generally, we're uploading new shows every Friday morning.
Every Friday
So,
morning, not generally. Also,
yeah.
listen, if you listen to everyone listening, you're already here. All right. You're here on YouTube. Just just like it, just subscribe it. We are just starting this brand new channel. So, it's not going to hurt you. And just because you subscribe doesn't mean we call you every night. Like, we're not going to interrupt your life. So, do me a favor. Do Barbo a favor and hit like, subscribe, become one with the family. And that's that on that. Do something nice today. Start here and now. That's all I got to say.
There you go. There you go.
A
So
little
before we bring
pressure.
Coco on, let's just do a quick little recap as to what happened last week and what we're about to get into this week. And I'll let you
I,
run with that, Kaz.
well, with Halloween and all the Halloween parties, I know I did too. I don't even remember last week. Did
Oh,
Astrid led
yeah.
that? Yeah, so Astrid went home. We interviewed
It's
Astrid
okay.
last
I've
week.
actually been calling Zavaleta Zavala every week, and I
And I've
picked
been
that
calling
up,
her
I think,
La
last week.
Zavaleta. I've been calling her La Zavaleta. You're like, you're so white. You don't have to say the La. I'm like, oh, I don't. Okay, so last week, Astrid went home. We interviewed Astrid. Of course, Astrid had a little bit of a meltdown and was sad to see her go. But, everyone must die on this show. So it happened. And so usually, like, the third episode is kind of like the turning point as far as tensions go. And I had some problems with this episode.
This
This
definitely
was the
was a
turning
turning
point.
point, episode 3, and I don't know if it necessarily was the turning point we were looking for. Let's just say that.
No, I was
Or you might
concerned.
want to say more. Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to say there were some moments in the show that left me concerned about the direction of the feel of the show. But just two major things. We'll talk about it, and I also want to know what Coco has to think as well. So,
I
is she
agree.
here?
Yeah, I felt the same way to be honest. I when they introduced the Wild Wild
Hmm.
West theme, I was kind of like, "Ugh, I don't know. This seems so kind of normal." And
They're
I mean,
taking chances.
yeah, I mean, I do appreciate that they put like the comic book sci-fi sort of element to it. That so
Yeah,
thinking outside the box because I don't really want to see just like a basic Wild Wild West theme. Although I did really like the intro movie when they appeared and they
I'm
were in
loving
their
the
little.
intro movies. I'm loving the
Yeah, me
chances that they're
too.
taking. I really
Me
am.
too.
That wasn't my problem. That wasn't my problem. But I'm gonna pinpoint exactly my worries and my concerns and the things I'm gonna be putting in the Dragula suggestion box. But that will come up, So this is why we
Yeah,
listen.
yeah. Well, the first suggestion for me is, bitches, please get my credits right. I mean, I've been working on it for years trying to get my goddamn credits right, and they're still wrong. Anyways,
Wait, really
so
quickly for people that don't know, me and Barbeau, we work together as a production team called Equal Rights for Robots. We make music, but Barbeau has been making music since most of y'all was swimming in your daddy's nutsack. So he's been doing this a long time, and he is
ouch.
the he well, come on now, we more than a week,
I know, I'm
and you
kidding.
you have you Barbeau wrote and produced the theme song for Dragula. And when you
And
hear the
sang it.
drag, I was going to say that's his golden vocal cords on that
That's me.
introduction. So
That's
that's
me.
Barbeau. You have him to blame. Thank.
Yes, it's Barbeau. It's not Adrian Barbeau. But anyways, I digress. So, should we go and bring on Miss Kane?
Let's do it.
Let's bring her on. Dun, 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 dun,
She's
dun, dun,
joining,
dun, dun,
girl.
dun.
Yeah.
Howdy.
Miss Caine, are you with us?
I am here. How we doing?
Hi, Coco.
Hi.
Howdy.
It's nice
Hi,
to meet you.
Coco.
Likewise, likewise.
Baby, did you
So,
just get up? Do you need some tea or something? You sound you sound like me like 10 minutes ago.
Child, it's been a rough week. It's been a rough month. I need a
Coco, you've
drink.
been
Well,
busy. You've been busy, haven't you, little one?
Yeah, I
Or
just touched down from
I should
Florida
say big tittied
yesterday.
one.
well,
Yeah,
just
You
to
know,
get
you
off
and
of
I
that.
just played together at the Monsters Ball, and I didn't even get to see
Oh, you
you.
were there?
I
yeah,
was in the haunted basement.
I didn't even go down there with all the shit I had on. It's a adventure getting from one place to another.
Well, if you would have fallen down those stairs, you would have had some good padding, girl.
Lord, with my luck, I land on my face.
Oh,
I
yikes.
just want to get out of the way, Coco, that you from the beginning have been one of me and Barbo's favorites on the show. So I'm
Hmm.
really excited to have you on the show today.
Oh, thank you.
So
So
we just did a quick little recap as to what happened last week and what we're about to get into now. So I say that we just go ahead and just launch into it. But before we do that, Coco, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
where you from?
Um, I am originally from Aberdeen, North Carolina, but I currently reside, as of the past 6 years, in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And how did you sort of discover the Boulet brothers and that whole scene? I mean, was it something you were sort of a part of, or did you just sort of like kind of do like a little right turn to kind of go that direction, or how did that all happen?
Well, it was always something that I wished was a thing, and then when I found out it was a thing, I was like, oh, shit. But then I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not, I had to, do my research and make sure I was about that life, because I was like, I don't doing a lot over there, you know what I'm saying? But then I was like, you know
Right.
what? I do a lot too, so I'm with the
So
shit.
Yeah.
how much of that, like, filth, horror, glamour was a part of what you were doing before you sort of jumped into it?
Oh, all of it. I've been doing this
Oh,
since I
okay.
was basically born. Like, I spent,
Oh,
So
okay.
you've always been a monster queen then.
almost definitely, inside and out.
Oh,
It's not even a
nice.
question.
Because I think that from watching the show, you get the feeling that some of the contestants kind of were more in a traditional direction and aesthetic with what they did, and they might have like morphed themselves for the show. But and then some, you could tell it is who they've always been as far as being like a monster of drag compared. But like you can tell that like you're influenced by both at the same time. But you seem to fit really well with all of these competitions. So I really
Yeah.
enjoyed you on the show.
Thank you, thank
Coco
you.
and I got to spend a little bit of time together before the show actually aired. And one of the things that I noticed about you, Coco, is that you are an amazing artist. You draw, and I was curious how much of this character was sort of developed through that kind of art. I mean, do you generally tend to do a lot of your sketching before you start to do these outfits, or how much of that was realized through that kind of art, that kind of medium?
Honestly, at this point, looking back, it's really just ironic because no, I don't plan anything. I don't sketch anything. Anything
Oh,
I
really?
draw is usually just an expression, it's an outlet. And looking back, I noticed that even as a kid growing up, anytime I would draw female characters or monsters, they always had stupid long hair, stupid big hair, huge titties, tiny waist, ridiculous proportions. And it only makes sense that that's me now.
You
Yeah.
manifested it.
Well,
Right.
you probably didn't even realize you were already kind of creating that character while you were young, just kind of, just
Oh,
was gravitating
God,
towards that
no.
look.
10 years ago, if you asked me what I'd be doing, I would have never guessed doing drag on TV. Like, that would have, I'd have laughed at you. That would have never crossed my mind. But
Right,
like
right,
many people's drag and many people's choices and lifestyles, they change and
right.
anything can happen.
So let's just go ahead and just jump into the episode now. So we basically get a little vignette in the beginning where we see the Boulets at looks like some sort of a little Western town where they're with
Yeah.
Israel, and they're giving us some Western looks, and I'm really living for these little movie vignettes that we're getting at the beginning of every episode. I mean, the production value has gone way up, and I mean, it is
They're taking
excitement city for
chances.
me.
It's good.
Yeah, they are. But then we cut to the cast entering the black lacquer table room, and and they're all wondering who got exterminated. So we see the cast is kind of talking to each other, and Hoso is a little bit worried that Astrid might be going home. She doesn't want to lose her man. I mean, she just found him, so, and I get it. I get it. So we're a little bit worried for her, and and you guys are all sort of, just kind of just waiting around. And for you, Coco, like you mentioned that you were probably a bit more interested in having Betty come back than Astrid. Now, was that for any particular reason, or just, I mean, was it just sort of like just vibing with what was going on at that point? Like, what was running through your head?
Honestly, at that point in time, I was in my feels, and I didn't have a preference as who really came back. I didn't really give a fuck, but at the end of the day, Miss Astrid had made a remark that I didn't care too much for, and it kind of led me to believe that this experience I hoped would humble her, and level that out, because it's not my job. That's not my place. Right. It's not my business. I'm not raising nobody's kids.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, she didn't come back, so
she didn't come back. And yes, we get Betty walking in, and as soon as Betty walks in, Hoso looks bothered, and for good reason. It's a competition. It's not, find a man's race. So,
right.
I mean, it makes sense. If only. So then the Boulet brothers appear, and they give you guys the challenge for this episode, which is the comic book inspired Weird Wild West theme, which is basically like a Western horror and sci-fi sort of thing. And
yeah, you're still not feeling that.
No,
we saw your disappointment when it came to the challenge. We're like, oh no.
This was literally
definitely got the impression
I
that
hate.
sci-fi is not your thing. Sci-fi
It's
is
fucking not at
correct.
all. Like, I have never. The closest I came to sci-fi, and honestly, when you think about it, it makes sense with my look. I grew up, the closest I came to sci-fi was Animorphs. You know those little books they had at like the fucking library where like it was always some kid turned into some animal and shit. That's the closest to sci-fi I came. Like all that other what can you do if an alien attacks? Nothing. I'm fucked. So like,
girl, you get a gun and you hide.
What is a gun gonna do for an alien? It knows we have guns. I'm sure they got better guns. Like,
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. So we definitely got the gist that you weren't feeling that. But regardless, what you have been turning out in the first two episodes, we were living for them. So whatever you were going to turn out for this episode, I know that Kaz and I were just going to be all over, and we definitely were. But we'll get to that.
We'll get there.
I noticed that. I know that we always say like we'll get there. That's kind of a good answer. But you know what? I just want to talk really quickly about the Boulet brothers outfits, where they are the challenge outfits, where they have those like red melted dresses and those amazing wigs with those little spiky black things sticking out of them. They look freaking gorgeous. I think those outfits were designed by Mindy Lamore. And those little black, those hair pieces, those wigs were designed by Marco's Wigs. I think those guys deserve huge props for just the amazing work they are doing on these ladies. But anyway, so they give you guys the challenge, and then we cut back to the cast back in the workroom, just talking about y'all's ideas and what you're going to bring to the next floor show. Mary, we cut to Mary, who seems a little bit in her head for the last couple episodes. She's been just because, she's been safe for so long. Or Letta seems really excited because also, this is something that's in her sort of territory, being Mexican and growing up where she grew up. She kind of knows what's kind of coming. So we flash forward to the walkthroughs as you guys are in the workroom working on your looks. First we have Sigourney. and Sigourney's talking about how she's doing a Mugler inspired look, and
Hmm.
and which we'll see a little bit later. Then we cut to Coco, and you basically run down that you're doing kind of like a brothel worker, big titty pig lady.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that idea? Like, what came to your mind when you
Well,
decided to
this
do this
character,
look?
she was a derivative of a character I created previously for a shoot, and the theme of it was like if the tables turned and the humans became the dinner instead of the animal, and it was me in my revised pig getup with human remains on a platter, and I was dressed as a chef. And for a long time, my hair business that I was running was based and named after this character. The business was called Scout, and it's where I
Okay.
sold my wigs for newer entertainers. And I kind of ran with it. It became like my icon for a little bit. And a lot of the drag I did on a local level didn't really, I feel like, get the recognition that it could have or deserved. So I
Yeah,
wanted
it
to
rarely
take
Hmm.
this opportunity.
does.
Rarely, truly, honestly. Plus, I was like, this is my least favorite fucking challenge. I'm going to do something that I enjoy with this. And at the end of the day, if this does get sent home, at least I got some bomb ass high quality content of it.
What was that mask made out of? Did you make that mask?
Oh, yeah, entirely. The mask
Okay.
is constructed of like pillow stuffing. I take a wig cap and
Yeah.
pull that over my face, and I secure the edges around the forehead and temple area, and then I
I was
proceed to
wondering how you did
stuff it
that.
and shape it. Yeah, you just stuff it and
Oh.
shape it till you get the shape you want, and then you lock that in with liquid latex, and you do your makeup on
Ah.
top of it.
Okay. Okay. Because it really did look like skin.
Yeah.
And then the smoke. How did you? Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that look. Okay. So we'll
That
get
we're
to
just
the
gonna call this
specifics.
podcast. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So then the Boulet brothers appear, and they appear through a Stargate, which I love. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies. So they introduce the guests, which are
The
Kristen
guess. Okay.
Mattel and Orville Peck. So this is I thought this is a really good judges panel because they both make country music, and so we're getting sort of like the roots for as to how we're going to judge.
Okay. So I want to run down the looks of the floor show. And I am going to be giving my opinion on some of this. I know you are, Barbeau, and feel free. I know that you are not so judgmental, Coco, and you like to let people just do what they do. But feel free to chime in with your opinion and your thoughts at any moment as we like hit this. So in the floor show, it is the Wild Wild West theme, and Betty comes out first, and well, I know that she did this whole like Southern horror robot futuristic type look. I think that her performance really like saved her on this because I felt that the look
Hmm.
as far as like the makeup was underwhelming for me. And when there's like a star covering the eye, it just brings me back to like Club Kids, and I was like, oh man, I didn't know if the Boulet brothers were gonna like it or not. But I thought that based on what I saw, the performance and how she seemed comfortable with her body and moving with a big gun seemed to be there for me.
I thought the same. Actually, I thought her performance was great. I really wish I could say the same thing about her face paint. It just it just
Yeah.
looked really easy. And I think that you're right. I think her performance really did uh, put her in a very, very good position.
Right. Right. Some people are better
Yeah.
than others, and sometimes it gets when you can you see the floor show when you're or are you just backstage getting ready time or just waiting to go on, Coco? Like, are you kind of observing the floor show as well when other people are on there?
Nope.
Okay, so you really don't get to see. I'm.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess it's probably better that way. You don't really know what you're up against.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So,
felt
Coco,
like
mhm.
I felt
Go
like
ahead.
knowing Betty and her background in life, I just felt like that was a safe choice. As an entertainer, I look for
Mm.
variety. I look for, which I found ironic that that was thrown into my critiques. Of all the
Mhm.
people on that stage, I feel like I am one of the most shapeshiftiest of bitches there. Like, especially when you're in an environment in which your type of drag isn't welcome. You have to know how to navigate yourself and still be yourself, yet still be able to cater to your targeted audience. I feel as though that was a comfortable decision for her.
How do you mean
Yeah.
when your drag isn't welcome? What do you mean?
We all know that alternative people had to fight a little bit harder for spaces in the club scenes, especially in
Oh, I see.
areas where pageant queens run amok. And
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
if you don't market yourself a certain way or in a certain manner to a certain degree, you're gonna have to find somewhere else to be booked.
Right.
So,
Right.
And be
Right.
appreciated.
exactly.
Okay.
I'll tell you, like, I had a lot of problems this week with the judging, and it left me like very, very confused.
Me too.
So because when you came out, you were one of me and Barbo's favorite looks right away. Like, first of all, the way that the pig was attached to your face just looks so creepy to me. Like when you're watching a horror movie and they do something, the killer does something crazy, like peel off the person's face and put it on their face, like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type moment. Like that really was creepy for me, which I enjoyed. But the thing I really loved is I'd never seen before like smoke come out of like the mouth, the nose,
Yeah.
and the eyes, and it reminded me this pig is getting like smoked and before they
Yeah.
eat it. You know what I mean? Like, was that the concept that you were going for?
In my head, I imagined, like I had said, if I was a little hooker situation back in that day, I'd be a dick pig, you know? And in my head, I painted this story of, Miss Thing's working, getting her coin. She runs into a good old John Doe or deer, whatever. And he leaves her a little something she didn't ask for. And instead of going to get treated, Miss Thing just went rabid. And now she's running amok with the good old swine flu.
I love it. So basically the next one was Coco, and I was living for this look. I mean, to me, okay, I didn't get that you sort of had reversed the roles, but it made
Yeah.
sense. It made sense in the theme of what we were seeing. That, to me, I thought, oh, I mean, this is okay. This is pretty obvious. It's like, we're getting the spit roasted pig, except she's basically giving us the whorehouse vibe, but she's actually a pig. I mean, so yeah, it was. I guess the role reverse was. I mean, I guess maybe I did get it. I just didn't really think about it at the time. But and then the smoke coming through the eyes and the mouth, it all just made perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
The judging, the whole judging situation, that's a whole other story. I mean, we'll get to that, but.
So, and then Zavaleta, that look was major to me. Like I
So
loved everything
major.
from head to toe, all the details, like the machine gun arm, the sharpened teeth, and just like such like evil and cartoony at the same time that it definitely captured like my attention and had me like kind of enthralled and like looking for details about the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. There were so many details in this look that I think could have really almost backfired, if she would have done them wrong. But just the way that the details were put together, the earrings, like you said, the bullets, the big cannon arm. There was no gender to it. It was just so fluid and just strange. You just did not know what it was exactly you were looking at, and she kept doing this creepy smile where you're just not sure if she's going to murder you or if she's going to eat you, like what was going to happen. And it was just really intriguing, like all of it. I just was living for this.
So then we have Sigourney, who let's see how to best describe. Let's see, Blue Alien, Southern Belle, whore. Her, no matter what she wears, her performance always always helps her out because she knows her body well. You could tell that she has experience doing cabaret dancing, and I know that the Boulet brothers love that shit. So it honestly was kind of underwhelming for me, especially compared to others, and a little predictable. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
performance, can always like hurt or help or hinder you. What do you think?
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I feel like this look was a little safe, and then sort of like looking back on it, when they got a little bit closer and you could really, really see her makeup, there was some details in there that really, really just got lost, when I just in their overall look. So, but also at the same time, like I have to say that at this point on the next episode, I really need to see something different from Sigourney, because I'm starting to see a lot of the same shit, and it's fine. I like it, but I need to see something different at this point.
This gets into my frustration with this episode, is because I'm getting way more predictability from Sigourney than I was getting from you, Coco. I based on the other things that you did, I wouldn't have expected you to come out, with the pig face and like I can't really describe what was going on your legs, but the texture of what was happening almost seemed like blood and like spilled cut up flesh, just like on your lower half. So it was all head to toe kind of work, but everything with Sigourney, I really hope that she switches it up, because she is a great entertainer, but look wise, I feel like I always know what's coming, especially with here's gonna comes the reveal. I have an idea what the reveal is, so I don't know. I'm not like talking down to it, but
relying on that body, honey.
Yeah.
But I think you're right.
Right.
It just leads me to wonder, though, is it bad to have a signature silhouette? Like,
right.
If you've worked on a body and built that motherfucker from the ground up, like me, for example.
No.
Like,
I don't think it's bad. I just think that, just do more. And, those are the things that as a viewer, I want to see. I want to see a little bit more of that. Or if you're not going to give me that, just, give me something where you're doing something outside the box, where like what you did, or what like Hoso did, like, that, because then I'm just like, then my mind is just like, whoa, my God, what did I just see? I do love Sigourney. I think Sigourney's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It just goes to show how much a performance can amplify something that otherwise would be a little possibly sleepy or just toned down, that you can bring it to the next level just for how you act it out. So I mean, she's a good performer, so she'll always have that in her back pocket,
Absolutely.
So then Saint comes out, and I love the silhouette of this, and I love the thought that went into the hips and the cow hips that you think about, but you never really talk about. So I thought that was really thoughtful, and so I just really love that also that that Saint pulled an animal as well and worked it into it, rather than just something that would be more predictable, like a whore or a cowboy or something like that, So I had immediate appreciation for this look, and also like someone that brings just a little bit of comedy into it. I always fear that when someone does something on the floor show of Dragula, but they don't have a drop of blood, that they're gonna the judges aren't gonna appreciate it so much. But I really liked this look, and with the hat and the horns and
and the spurs.
I don't know.
I didn't see the spurs. Were there spurs?
Where were the spurs?
Yeah, she had spurs on her heels. Baby paid attention to detail. That's why I was living for it. That's why I think there's
nothing bad to say about this. Sorry, go ahead.
That's why I believe there's I feel like there's some sort of balance in between floor show performance, conceptualizing, and then just like the look overall. Like, for example, I feel like I gave it my floor show performance. I felt like that was one of the best performances I put forward. But I was fully capable of admitting that in the realm of sci-fi, I was not confident or comfortable with that concept entirely. It wasn't my strongest category. So that's why I'm led to believe that having a conceptualized look, regardless of entirely the execution, can play a good part in the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get to the judging in a second, but definitely your judging left us completely confused, like super confused.
So how are you telling me? I was standing up there looking confused.
I just really thought that the originality of the costume stuck out for me, and especially just head to toe with the hips, and then now Saint played with the nipples and everything. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until the judging came out, I'm like, oh, well, when they were talking about like how like sleepy it was, I didn't pick up on that. But I mean, I obviously didn't see the full performance either. So now I do understand that the judges are basing it on. How long is the performance when you guys get up there? Are you allowed to say that? Like, are you there for like 3 minutes? Is it like a song, or how long do you have to express yourself on the stage?
Honestly, in that moment, I really don't know. You just give until you've got nothing left.
Okay.
At least that's what I did. I was about to fucking black out with blowing all that fucking smoke. That's why I had a fan, bitch. You won't catch me in full drag without a fan.
How did you get that?
It's hot.
How did that work? How were you doing that?
I was
Do you care to
vaping.
share that little secret? Oh, you were
I was
vaping.
vaping.
Really?
Yes. I was pulling on a
okay.
fucking nicotine pen.
Sounds like me.
When I
Okay,
tell
wow.
you that menthol was wrecking my shit.
So then we
Jade.
have Jade, who always stands out to me. So Jade is giving me Gem and the Holograms meets Alien Cannibal with a lasso, and she's kind of like
She's like an
everywhere for
alien
me.
wrangler. She's like a neon wrangler alien hunter. That's what I wrote down.
Okay, I did like the hair. I like a wet hair look. I, you know, sometimes sometimes Jade leaves me like, huh, a little bit, and then I start to get it. Like, like last week, I appreciate it a little bit more than this week, but this isn't what I would have thought she would have gone to. And also, I don't know, I think maybe the neon colors is probably what like took me out of it. And it didn't really take me, like, actually it wasn't until you said, an alien wrangler, that I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. But
Right.
it was a little too pretty for me, maybe.
Well,
She's
to
too
be honest
pretty.
with you, like I didn't even get that until the lasso came out, and the lasso came out like halfway through her performance. In the
Yeah.
beginning, when she first came out, I was, I had to look at everything from head to toe to try to figure out what is this, like I mean, I got that it was an alien, the neon, the piping and stuff, but it was a little too clean in my opinion. Like I didn't really have there was no horror to it. I mean, I liked it. I just think that in the scheme of this whole thing, I wasn't really sure what it was overall
Mhm.
until that lasso came out.
In terms of the competition, it didn't seem to like work for me so much. Did you have any opinion on that you wanted to share, Coco?
I'll say, like, when I was picturing everybody, even after the episode aired and I was watching it, like, I kind of tried to just imagine everybody in the same realm versus who looked the most similar to be in the same realm. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
since Dahli was, what they were, what she was giving me, like, the side piece he'd run into out on an adventure. He's supposed to capture her ass, but, she done got that good old whole lasso out and snatched his ass. It's giving me something. I could put together a
Okay.
story with it. Because I mean, at the same
Okay.
time, though, I have no sci-fi reference, so like, my opinion shit in this category, obviously.
So then Dolly came out, and man, I'm really impressed. And like he just like took me out, like the teeth, the look, the posturing, the alien bounty hunter, really the distressed look, but also the plastic tubing like on the backs.
Oh
And
my
then he
God.
just was this character, so I don't know. He just had this real badass energy that just perfect villain.
I mean, when they came out, I was speechless. My jaw just hit the floor because this is a character that I have been wanting to see in some sort of a weird sci-fi Wild Wild West movie that we haven't quite gotten yet. And
Mm.
I mean, it was everything. I mean, it was so thought out. But I mean, like you said, everything about this was perfection to me. Just the volume of it, the painting, the leather. I mean, just when we first started, and they were in the workroom. they were working with like just really, really clean pieces of leather. I'm not even really sure what it was, but at the end, when they hit the floor show, everything looked like it had been around for 50 years, and it was just gorgeous. It was gorgeous.
Do you have to do you do any like distressing with your outfits as well, Coco, or did you go in that direction, and did you see the process that what they go through when they have to like make something look old really quick that I'm sure you have to do in this competition?
I actually do distress. There's a time and place for it with my looks. I don't do it frequently, but there's always a certain level of I call it ragged. There's just a certain level of raggedy that I enjoy in my look.
That just reminds me. Did you guys see like that documentary, the making of Thriller with Michael Jackson? They're talking about when they get the zombies ready, and they're just like, oh, we just threw them out, these old clothes out in the sun, and like threw them on some razor blades, and all these bugs crawled in them. And I remember the lady saying, oh, there's probably still some bugs in them. That was my first introduction to distressing clothes.
It's fun as fuck. It's hella fun. I used to take lighters to it. You get creative, just set shit on fire, stab it, cut it, burn it.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone who was not distressed. Mary. Green Mae West. The Mae West was good. She seemed to be in character. Well, as far as looking at it and knowing where she was pulling the inspiration from, as far as the look and the silhouette, then I got that like big tittied whore or runs the brothel. Like I kind of got that like bad bitch in control in Deep South Texas, but the green,
the makeup, not so much.
That's where I was gonna go.
She did mention she was going for a Cyclops, and
baby.
I mean, I've seen a Cyclops or two, and honey, that wasn't it. To create a gigantic lash, top and bottom, where it actually looks like one gigantic eye. Like
Is that what she was trying to do?
Yeah.
Is that what she was trying? Is that why the lashes are so big? She was trying to create a Cyclops?
She was trying to create a Cyclops, yeah. And it's just, I mean, I could see both of her eyes. It's like, girl, that's not a Cyclops. I can see your eyes. Like,
oh, shit. Okay, wow, okay. I just thought it was like big lashes to have big lashes. Okay.
No. I mean, the silhouette was nice, but the dress was nice. She did look like a Mae West character.
Till the lights came on.
What?
Till the lights came on. I love the fit, but the makeup wasn't it. If you're gonna body paint, baby, I don't want to clock where you started and where it stops. Go all the way up your arm, all the way up your arm. And if you're gonna give me a one-eye illusion, you're gonna do more than just put a black streak across your face, baby. That was a masquerade mask with construction paper. There are other illusions out there that could have gave eyeball.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
With access to the internet nowadays, you got YouTube, you got Patreon. There's hella sources for makeup tutorials and inspiration. You got Pinterest. Hell, the time to learn how to do your makeup was not on the show. That's why I'm like, enjoy the concept. You knew what you were wanting to do, but what you did wasn't what you sought after.
Right. I think that she had mentioned that was it her first time doing body paint. And I think that she said that later on in the show that, oh yeah, this body paint is fun. So, I mean, I didn't necessarily pick up on the fact that was the first time her doing body paint, but I didn't get it. It seemed really safe to me as far as like, okay, this is the costume. Now I'm green. I did not get the Cyclops thing. And then you just said, I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. Now I know where the attempt was.
A for effort.
So speaking of attempts, I'm going to attempt to not read the Boulet brothers for keeping Hoso safe, because this is one of my favorite looks I've ever seen on the show. And this just goes into how much I really appreciate Hoso. But the alien cactus with the little shop of horror arms with the big guns, like totally thought outside the box. Like, didn't do a person and didn't even do an animal, but just did a plant and then just like turned it into something so like aggressive and cool. Like I was in awe of this. I thought for sure that Hoso was at the very least going to be at the top.
Girl, like in the history of every drag show that we've watched, and we watch a lot of fucking drag shows, never have we seen anyone come out and do an interpretation of a plant. I mean, have we?
I mean,
Like, what the
If we have, it
fuck?
wasn't memorable.
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like, this was genius. I mean, talk about you and Hoso are the two that really, really thought outside the box. And
Well, I really did enjoy Hoso's look.
Was it as amazing in person as it was on film? Like, was that latex?
I don't know what it was, but it was definitely absolutely lovely. I really enjoyed their take on it. I enjoyed that they drew inspiration from something that was very particular to them. I feel like that's not something I would just see. You don't obviously you don't see anybody else just pulling that inspiration from anywhere. So
Right.
that I appreciate that in an artist. Anything that can make me sit back and wonder, like, what's what happened to you? I always wonder what the backstory is. Like, did a cactus? You and a cactus? What happened? Like, where did you get this? And I love it. I live.
This should have gotten some serious props.
Right. So before they started the judging, they did a little chit chat, and they think Betty learned from her extermination challenge the week before, which I didn't pick up on. Maybe it's just in the editing. It didn't seem like she went above and beyond for me, but that's just me. And then they said that Mary took their advice, and I think what they meant was because the week before they said that she was like angry on stage and seemed really upset and uncomfortable. So okay, well, I guess I can see that based on this challenge. But then they talked about the issue with Jade, and Jade being very safe, and I wish I saw them talk to her about that, because obviously I don't know if that was just in the edit or not, if they did talk to Jade, because I really think Jade needs to hear that right now, that she's fading.
I agree. Yeah. I feel like Jade needs a little bit she needs to be judged, because, yeah, you're right. We're starting to lose her a little bit. And I feel like if she doesn't get some critique soon, we might lose her, pretty quickly.
Yeah. And another reason to be judged too is I feel like one of the elephants in the room is that she was on RuPaul's Drag Race, so then people are comparing the drag that happens on that show compared to the type of drag that's supposed to happen on Dragula, and if she's stepping up to the plate. And in some ways I think she is, but this was a moment I felt that she wasn't, and that she really needed to hear it this week so that she really gets on a different train of thought for the future in the competitions.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Was there any feeling of tension or even side eye with the fact that she was on Drag Race, or did you have any feeling about that, Coco?
Oh no, not at all. I feel like, as I stated earlier, people change. I don't feel the need to compare her then to her now, or her drag to then or now, because, like I said, life happens, shit happens, people change, people grow, and to continuously compare someone to who they used to be, kind of in a way prevents them from becoming who they set out to. If you continue to beat someone down as they're trying to pave their way to the person they want to be, it can be a little bit disheartening and can kill their confidence. And for some people, that's enough to give up. So
right.
I commend her. I want to see her do her best. But we also got to keep in mind the order of these challenges are unpredictable. So it could have just been an off day. This could have just been that one, just like for me, it was for her.
That's very true. And just to get on the show after being on a show that's on the opposite end of the spectrum shows that she's well-rounded and willing to be well-rounded. I guess I haven't heard her get critiqued once yet on the show. So I think that and she had even said backstage before that she really wants to hear what they have to say. So I'm sure that that's a spot a lot of them are in, especially in the beginning of the show when they don't know.
And Mary's having the same issue. Mary, I feel like Mary needs to, she's been safe this whole time, and she needs a little bit of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Although last week she did get a little bit of a critique, and they really did like her look, the mermaid underwater, queen or whatever she was in the vampire state of things.
Nemo.
Where, everyone else seemed confused.
Nemo.
Nemo.
Yeah, you would have been a great guest last week too, because we were like talking about you guys as a team, and
Child.
yeah.
I cannot
So
stop replaying in my head the scene where we're up there, we're choreographing, and I just stop and look at her. Like, what are you doing? Like, girl, why are you all up in my shit right now? Like, move.
mm,
And it's all over my face. Like, I didn't even, in that moment, I didn't care. It's just like, girl, you're acting brand new right now, and I don't understand it.
yeah, and yeah, that that
It
was
definitely was all over your face.
definitely yeah.
I'm sorry, but the way I'm built, I can't. If it's there, it's just If you know, you know. It's there. Ain't no
Well,
hiding that.
you tried, and we saw you work through the struggle. So
Yeah, yeah.
we saw the energy and the effort without a doubt. And so
Well,
yeah,
I
so
mean, you know,
Mary,
like Mary and Coco, they're, I mean, it's like fire and water. You know, it's
But
like
they,
fire and
but we
earth.
want to say that there wasn't a strategy. And what level of
mm,
hell is that a good idea? Putting me in my drag against her and her 10 years that we can't stop hearing about. Like maybe 10 years
right.
ago, me and you
Oh
wouldn't have
Lord.
talked in the same bar. You saw me and left. That's what kind of terms we would have been on. So why that was a good team, I don't know.
We didn't say it was a good team, that's for sure. You can blame Zabaleta for that one. And
And do.
so the safe ones were Mary, Jade, and Hoso. And okay, I'm still shaking my head. It's fine. We don't have to agree. They said Saint was too timid. And I guess when they said that, I'm like, okay, well, she wasn't going crazy, but cows are slow.
Cows are slow.
Cows
I
are
mean, come
slow.
on. She was giving you cow, bitch. Like, what part of that were you not getting? But
And
okay, all right.
they live for Zavaleta. Obviously, they love the gender play, and Zavaleta was badass on that. Dahli, dangerous, amazing presentation. Love the characterization, the necrophiliac sexual encounters moments, and Dahli was a star this week. I would have to give it up to him. And so,
Mhm. Do you still have a boner for Dahli?
Shut up. Why did you even bring that up? Anyway, moving on.
moving on. So they gave you the barbecue pork reference right away, and they said,
Mhm.
then they said the thing about the character repeating, which I didn't pick up on that. Like I said before, I picked much more on like Sigourney with as far as like repeating the character, and probably even repeating the type of performance that she gives as far as like being very cabaret. Um, and also like it's only 3 weeks in. Like I feel like it's not to the fifth week you can truly, to say that someone is repeating too much. And also, I just want to say you had a different silhouette this time than any other week, as far as like your ruffled dress. You weren't wearing like a black china
Yeah.
outfit, and before you had a bathing suit. So, which everyone for the most part I think had a bathing suit, except for no, maybe Dahlia had a bathing suit too. So, yeah. So I was
did
not
feel that was
agreeing.
unfair. That was definitely an unfair judging on towards Coco. Like, it's way too early to call out somebody.
I'm not the type to cry poor me. So whenever I get critiques or judgments, I try to find a way in which it's applicable, regardless of whether I feel personally it was accurate or not. And the only thing that I could say that would rationalize that critique would be the hypersexualization and the whole sex worker take that I put into my drag. But I could see how that falls back onto them calling it branding. However, I call it representation because I feel as though now more than ever,
Mm,
sex workers they need to be visible. In my drag, my goal is to make sure, even though I give you an illusion, there's an element to my drag that will still pull you back to the realities and the issues that are present. Like, I don't want people to live in this fantasy that I'm presenting. Know that in my drag, there is a message and I got something to say with what I'm wearing. So,
Mm-hmm.
my look, I do it for the sex workers. I do it for the girls, the gays, the days, the black girls, the black boys, the alt kids that no one to look up to. So,
mhm.
if that's what they're referring to, then okay, that's not going to change because these are
Yeah,
things that I feel like need to change in history before it changes in my drag.
I can completely understand that conundrum as another performer, and I think that that's something that is something that it's hard to understand from the judges, because you have an idea that you're trying to translate to them, because you know where you're coming from and the history and the story that you're trying to portray, and then sometimes they only get the visual and they don't understand the background behind it. So like when right now when you're talking about the sex worker industry and all that, like I really understand that, but I feel like I don't know. Don't you feel like that's a constant frustration as an artist? Because, obviously you can't make people think what you want, and they're interpreting it their own way. You know what I mean?
See, for me, for a long time,
I was going to say sometimes you feel like
you
have to make it. I'm sorry to cut you off. I was going to say that sometimes you feel like you have to force yourself to make it super obvious for the people interpreting your drag, right? Is that a frustration for you?
It used to be for a really long time, especially considering I was an artist that was heavily, basically solely influenced by my emotions. Anything I presented on the stage was a direct outlet of something in my life that was occurring that I had no other way of coping with. So there got to a point in my career where I just accepted the fact that everybody's not going to get it. And even if they get it, everyone's not going to like it. Everyone's going to constantly have an opinion about me, whether I like it or not. The difference is whether I give a fuck about it or not to change and or care. And at the end of the day, I quit doing that in middle school. So how people feel about my drag in the grand scheme of things doesn't matter. So,
and it's when at some point as an artist, you realize that because when you're first starting out as an artist, you just want to you want to create your art, but you also want to please people, and you want people to sort of gravitate towards what you're doing, and then you sort of get to a point where you're like, you know what? I just have to create for the sake of creating. And, you realize not everyone's going to like what I'm doing. Maybe, I might be reaching 5-10%. And then all of a sudden you realize that, you don't really care, that you just more of like anything. It's just about creating and just getting your art out. And I think at that point is when things just kind of shift for artists, and you stop giving a fuck, and you just, and then all of a sudden you just bloom into this completely different creature. And, I think that's what kind of happens in those situations.
And I think you really start to see after doing it for a while that it doesn't matter what people think, because at the end of the day, you're going to keep moving on anyway, and moving on to the next look or the next song or next video or the next song you produce. So, so I completely understand what you're saying. So they loved Betty. I mean, Betty was safe for me. If that, I got to get out there. I thought they were gonna read her for her makeup, because she did the Club Kid star eye look, which is to me is very Michael Alec, Limelight, Disco 2000. And Trixie was right on the money when she said that the eye should have been more cyborg. But I think it was her performance that must have saved her. But I'm confused.
Yeah, I have to agree with that too. I think that Betty's saving grace was her performance.
What I would have liked, especially from these entertainers that have a lot of time in the industry and a lot of experience under their belt, I find it impossible. I refuse to believe that out of all the years they've been performing, that they've been doing the same thing all this time. So there's got to be variety in there somewhere. I want to see a combination from Betty of all those years of experience that she has in the industry. I want to see pieces of Betty from the get-go. I want to see pieces of pageantry Betty. I want to see pieces of monster Betty. I want to see all that put together, because at the end of the day, it's horror, glamour, and filth. Glamour is just as important as the other two. And if you can't simultaneously combine the three and divide them when need be, in my opinion, you're not doing it right.
We always turn to each other, me and Barbara. We're like, okay, but where's the gore? Okay, I see there's no glam. Where's this? Where's we're looking for those elements in these shows. We're always looking. And I like Betty from, obviously I don't know her or hang out with her, but just as a person on the show, seems like a good person. So I don't know. I'm always hungry for more because I just, that's why I go to this show. And I think most of the audience does that just to, get the other side of drag. And anyway, so I don't want to sound like I'm talking so much shit about Betty and Betty's look, but I would, that shifted my emotions about this show for a moment. So Zavaleta got a deserving win, I think, but Dahli could have done it too, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Dahli could have done it too.
Yeah, they both had brilliant looks and performances, but Dahli's performance really moved me. So
same. I honestly would have been really, really happy. And for a second, I was thought it's going to be a double win tonight, thinking it might be Zavaleta and Dahli. I honestly thought Dahli was going to get it.
Did you feel that the Zavaleta win was fair? Were you okay with that, Coco?
Yes.
Okay.
I say yes because I really enjoy her concept and execution and the representation, obviously. Like, I feel like, once again, that's probably one of those things that really made or broke it because, yes, both of their looks were absolutely stunning. But I feel like Zava's look not only had backstory, also had reference, historically accurate reference at that, and personified it. Whereas we have a character excellently executing the theme.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, think about it. You got a wonderful concept, excellently executed, but then you get that and then some with the backstory, the representation. It gives you... Dahli gave a lot, but I felt like Zavaleta's look and theme gave a lot more because not only did I learn something new about her, that actually also painted her in to me, a different light because that really drove home that we all are here representing something greater than us as people. And she made sure to put that out there. And I really respected that. I felt like this was maybe possibly just a easy challenge for Dahli, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think that you made a really good point that, Zavaleta definitely had layers to what was going on, which made it more intriguing and personable. So, yeah. So congratulations to her. So you and Saint are on the bottom, and you're told you're going to be going up for extermination, and then backroom. I don't know if y'all should be drinking. Or I'm assuming that there really is like alcohol in those glasses, but I can't always tell like what's an act, what's for the camera, what's real, what's being like pushed just a little bit. But like Zavaleta definitely took an opportunity to have an argument, and it's so. And I don't know. So that was going nowhere quick.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like there was just when I reviewed it, I got something totally different. Like for me,
really?
I feel like as a person of color, I felt like there was maybe there was a language barrier there for a second because I exactly understood what Zava was saying. She was trying to tell Mary that, yeah, you'd think you like body painting, but imagine that stress on top of the stress you have now with the drag you do. Can you handle being in a time constraint situation and then knowing now you have to paint your entire body a different color? And she took that as shade, as her trying to come for her, saying she's always running around blase, blase. I'm like, no, what that was is Mary picked an opportunity to be offended. Zava simply was just like, hey, girl, are you sure you're about that life? Because this is new for you, and you think you want to do this, but that decision could be what gets you sent home next. You can't come out half your body green again.
Yeah, I definitely got that too. I could kind of tell that Zavaleta wasn't really trying to start a fight. She just was being very matter of fact. What really honestly broke my heart is during that entire stuff, they would kind of show Saint a little bit, and you can tell Saint was he was stressing. I mean, he was having a moment, and then he broke down, and that fucking broke my heart because Saint. I mean, Saint. Saint is a saint. He is like the sweetest freaking person in the world.
You can tell.
To see him, and to see him go there, and I mean, I was kind of like, oh no, I don't want to see Saint having a breakdown because he's the last person that I want to see hurt, and especially he was more hurt about, he was hurt about obviously he was at the bottom, but he didn't want to be on the bottom with you either. And,
Yeah, that was
I get as
obvious.
well. Yeah.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
what?
I
Sorry,
wouldn't
go
have had
ahead.
it any other way. I wouldn't have had it any other way, simply. And
Yeah.
honestly, it was for me it was a full circle moment because I remember watching the show and watching Saint and then
Mm.
watching Resurrection. And as I'm watching this, I'm thinking about when my time will be, if ever there will be a time. And then I'm thinking, no, no, no. That in my head at that point in time, considering there weren't many alt POC to look up to, at least that I had a whole
Hmm.
of a reference to. In my head, it was just very, let's just say, not positive thoughts and outlooks on it. But then I saw the Resurrection episode and realized, like, wow, all over half the struggles that I've endured in life that I thought were so particular and so circumstantial, this person is literally strumming my pain with their fingers right now on TV. Like, when
Hmm.
I say I had never related to somebody so much from their life story, at least from what was told, I meant that. Like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have honestly had half the confidence to even step foot forward, knowing that this is predominantly a not black community, especially growing up in a black community where being alternative or anything other than the social standard or social norm was frowned upon. If you weren't hyper
Hmm.
masculine, you were exiled. If you weren't what exactly they wanted you to be, you're out and there's no space for you. So when I saw that, it was just a huge deal. And it was honestly an honor at that point. It was like nobody
Well,
else here I'd be happy with going home to.
well, you
Yeah.
have to love someone to go back. I'm going back right now, and you have to love someone and use that "Killing Me Softly" reference that you used the beginning of that explanation. So, and so, but the love and respect that you had for each other seemed really intense, and
Yeah.
that so there were two sides of emotions going on there because yeah, I do think that like Mary took that like too personally and wanted to argue. I also think that Zavaleta has like wanted an opportunity to vent often when she sees it. What I thought that she could have just like enjoyed her win.
Yeah.
So that was an argument that didn't have to happen. It wasn't anything productive as far as I could see. And then on the other side of the spectrum, Saint is just going through it because she loves you, and she also wants, she's upset that it's two black girls going up against each other, and then of course Mary gives a "oh, I'm here too." Like, no,
We're
Micheline,
like,
forget about
We
child's
you.
all know,
play.
girl. We know you're here.
It was sad to see you go. We've really enjoyed you on the show, and one thing that I said to Barbeau was this was my least favorite extermination, but probably one of no, yeah, but one of my favorite kills, like when you're being spit roasted.
Spit
But I just was,
roasted. Oh my
yeah,
God.
but
Iconic.
before that, so I just got to get out of the way that this is a fear of mine. I don't want these exterminations to get like to rated G, like them. I mean, I understand the theme and being on the mechanical bull, but being on that bouncy castle shit was just like way too cute for an extermination for me. But
I agree, honestly.
that's you agree?
Yeah, I was wanting a tattoo, man, or something. Like,
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
or
wanted to hurt.
eat a
Yeah.
razor blade or something.
I was
I don't
honestly a little
or
pissed off.
Girl, they should have
yeah.
branded
It's
y'all.
like
You
a
should have got
fucking
branded.
bull. It's like I live in Oklahoma. This is a slap in the face.
No,
Like,
but then you land on padding. You land in a bouncy castle thing. It was like way
Yeah,
too
I mean,
like
it should have. The
5-year-old birthday
ground should
see,
have
party
been
for
full of
me.
worms
I
and
land on padding
cockroaches and
regardless.
shit.
I don't know about these other girls, but I always land on padding. Mama, stay padded. I got my own
Oh my
built-in
God.
bouncy castle.
Hope that the next week's extermination is a little bit more terrifying, but it was terrifying. I gotta know, like, I don't know if that was a mold or whatever. I know I'm seeing that now they're connecting to the intro to the murder at the end, but that just looked like one of those cannibalistic horror movies that always freak me out when there's a human being roasted, like something post-apocalyptic where everyone's eating humans because there's no more food. And then just to see how it looked realistic, how it's like a cast of a person, which is what I think happens when you roast a pig. Like, was there a cast? Like,
the titties should have been a lot bigger though, because it was so gross.
Well, I mean, they ate them, and then what was left shriveled up, I guess.
So was that? Could you tell me, was that a mold of you in that position that they put there, and then they use your costume to stick through? Or I really want to know anything you can tell me about that.
I'm assuming so. Your guess is as good as mine. All I know is she's dead to me.
Well, yeah, and somebody's eating her some barbecue pork. All right,
I hope she tasty.
How has your life changed since the show, and what do you have coming up now? And I know you have other art projects that you work on besides the drag and drawing. Is there anything that you're focused on, you want to let the world know about?
Oh my God, listen, I have the attention span of a dead goldfish. So when I tell you I have like 50 projects I'm working on, life changed almost as soon as the promo dropped. My followers went from about 3,000 something. It quadrupled within the first 48 hours. So the visibility was there. And I already had a plan from the get-go of what I was going to do with my platform, regardless of whether I won or lost. And that's be more present in the community to put in that footwork that we need to make the change that we want so desperately. So
nice.
February of next year, I'll be featuring a lot of my art in a local art museum here in Tulsa, where I'll be selling it, and the proceeds will go to a nonprofit organization of choice. I am also aiming to basically unite the alt POC community and delete this narrative that there's only a little bit of room up there at the top for us. Like, there's plenty of space to eat, pun intended. So I want everyone to be successful. I want to put the girls on. I don't want to have that narrative out there that once people make it or get on TV or get big, that they forget where they came from and just pretend to care about their community. I feel like now I finally have the platform and the material and the capability of setting out and achieving what I really want to do with my drag, and that's make a real difference.
Amazing. Do you plan on staying in Tulsa? Do you feel pressure to move where there's more like show business possible opportunities, or is that home to you?
Nowhere is home to me, and I won't move for show business. I am not letting the business run me. I'm running my own business, and I basically want to go where the most work needs to be done in the community. So my goal is to take advantage of the traveling and the gigs to really get to know people in the locations in which I visit and really understand the dynamic of how the community is there, because granted, our communities have very similar issues, but there's different factors fueling each place per se. And there's a lot of things you don't know that happen in a place unless you actually take the time to get to know and involve yourself in said community. And I have time, so I'm interested in doing so.
I love that answer. I really, really do. And Tulsa probably really needs you, to be honest.
Well, they had me for 6 years. I got to go.
I'm done. So where can people find you? What is your social media? I mean, I'm sure everyone listening already probably follows you on Instagram, and if you have a YouTube page, but let the kids know in case they don't.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Koco Caine. You can find me on Twitter at the same. You can kind of sometimes find me on TikTok. Just look for a Koco Caine derivative, because them bitches keep taking me down, girl. But man, I'm telling you, they hate titties and
too
blood.
many Cocos.
No, they just hate my drag. Like, when I tell you I'm banned right now.
Oh, that's why they take you down, just because of your drag?
Yes, anytime I post anything, if it's got a piece of titty out, like just a piece, they are like, no, sexual activity. If I bleed, even if I tell them
God,
nope, gratuitous violence. I'm like, this is racist.
Wow.
But it's a mess. So what I do is I make TikToks on the platform and then transfer the material to other platforms. So you can catch my TikToks on Instagram.
And your TikTok is the same name as your Instagram name?
Yeah, for now. I don't know how much longer it'll be up. They're working on it.
Okay, just look for the bloody queen with her titties out if you're on TikTok. And
yeah, with with the censor warning on top of her content.
Exactly.
What about you, Barbeau? Do you want to let the kids know where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram and I am Barbeau, and that's about it because I don't fuck with all the other shit. I mean, I kind of do, but who cares at this point?
Yeah.
And that's where you all can find me.
Yeah, and I barely fuck with TikTok. I'm Cazwell Official on Instagram and Cazwell NYC on Twitter. If you don't know, and you catch my music videos here on YouTube and stream my music anywhere music streams. And Koco, I just want to say we love you so much, and we hope we get to talk to you again for real. Like you have been one of our favorites on the show, so it was an honor to talk to you, and I wish you nothing but success. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
Thank you so
for
much.
having
Really
me.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Anytime, darling.
And for everyone that's listening, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're here every week. We have a special guest every week. And big shout out to the Boulet Brothers, Dragula Season 4, and the amazing cast this season. And hopefully we'll be talking to all of them this season of the Cazwell and Barbeau Show.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye, Koco.
Bye, Koco.
Bye.
Bye.